Hey, it's Jason Kochis. I am back with a new inking video. This time I'm going to be inking a drawing I did of Lum with a fine liner or a micron. This is just sort of like a generic version of a micron. So yeah, starting out with a 0.2. I always end up starting with the eyes. Usually because my hand is, I'm very steady at the beginning. I'm going to make some pretty good fresh lines. And so I always want to make the eyes very detailed, very clean. So it's a good place to start for me. Usually when I'm drawing, I always start with the head too. I don't know, I learned that back in college or whatnot. Just learned early on to always start with the head, so it makes sense that I would start with the eyes then. Yeah, rotating the paper. Working on the eyelashes here, trying to get my hands, in the appropriate angle to make the lines that I want to make. What's a little bit different about this drawing, if you've been following my channel, I really appreciate it. If not, please consider liking and subscribing. Ordinarily on the channel, I am inking in other people's, famous artists, their work. And what's a little bit different about this today is this is an actual original drawing by me of Rumiko Takahashi's character Lum from her anime manga Urusei Yatsura. If you happen to like the end result of this drawing, I am going to be offering this up for sale at one of the conventions that I'll be doing this fall. So if you happen to be at one of those, please stop by, check out this drawing in real life. But yeah, in doing this, I realized I needed maybe some more quote-unquote fan art for my booth. I've been working on an original comic book called Koji and Maru, and I'm going to be exhibiting at a couple of anime conventions this fall, and I thought, maybe I need to have some more recognizable characters that people maybe would want to purchase, like original drawings and things. That was sort of the inspiration for why I did this drawing. Again, using a fine liner or a micron pen, I'm trying to find the tool that I really want to, commit to or use all the time when I'm creating my comics. For the first issue of Koji and Maru, I used a paintbrush and some black magic ink. I do like that. It's just very time consuming. Doing 20 pages of that can take a number of weeks, where using a fine liner or a Tombow brush pen, I can do a drawing maybe in an hour, which may take me 3 or 4 hours with the brush and the black magic. Start to finish, this particular drawing of Lum took about 45 minutes to an hour to ink in completely. Just moving around the drawing, I corrected a little bit of the drawing there. Her hair was actually going into the corner of where her thumb met her elbow there, which again is sort of a tangent, but I removed a third tangent there with her hair sort of all converging into that area. Yeah, and that's just one thing about when I'm inking. Like, yes, I have the, very tight pencil drawing, but if I see something that I can correct, I'm going to go ahead and try to do that. Again, just moving around the drawing. One thing that I would correct that I've sort of just noticed as I'm, looking at the video and inking here, is it appears that Lum's leg is just a little bit short there. I think it probably should be a little bit longer in proportion to the rest of her body. I do like how these stripes follow the contour or the shape of the leg and the calf there. It's kind of like Spider-Man. If you've ever drawn Spider-Man's costume, the lines and the webbings follow the contour and the shape of the body. So I like that. Not sure if Rumiko Takahashi was thinking about that when she created this costume or not, but definitely it made it a little bit easier for me to understand and create the stripes. Now I'm going to go around the drawing. This is usually my process. I'll go around and maybe thicken up some lines, correct some stuff, some minor mistakes I may have made in the inking process. Heard this for a long time, always seen it, learned it. Always want to make, if there's like an arm in front of the leg, you want to make whatever is closer to you have the thickest outline. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm going around and, Lum is laying on the floor. And so I'm going to make that part of her body thicker than everything else because it's the sort of the closest thing to you. It's also a way that I've heard that you can add weight to an object. I think I'm also, I just grew up with a lot of cartoons. And so like a sort of thick outline is something that I prefer when I create drawings and things like this. So that could be a rationale for why I feel like I've got to go around and do this. Again, I want to make her hair, the contour of it look thicker so it looks like it's in front of her face. Same thing with the horns. And again, turning the paper so I can get my hand to make the curves that I want it to. And also, I find that when I create lines or I'm inking, I have the best success when I push the pen away from me. I have the better control of where the line is going to end up if I push the pen away from me and the ink away from me. So that's another reason why I'm always turning the paper a lot. And maybe some other artists, they may use like some tools, some drafting tools to help them make certain shapes. I haven't really gotten to that part where I'm comfortable doing that yet. I do use that for panel borders when I'm creating my comic, but in terms of some of these curves in her hair and her, her foot and the boots and all that, like perhaps I could use drafting stencils and things to help me do that, but I'm just sort of freehanding it here. And this is just what works for me. I mean, I've always heard, you just have to do what works for you. What may work for me may not work for you. So I'm just experimenting. And now you can see I've got the Tombow brush pen, and I'm going around the contours of the areas that I'm going to fill in black. I'm going around these contours so I have a buffer for when I come back in with a bigger brush pen to fill in those, the big areas of black. It's definitely a time-consuming process. I do enjoy creating original art like this analog, I guess you could say. I know a lot of people do digital inking, and I do like digital inking. I have a tablet where I can ink. But I do like, having this end product where I could sell or, give to somebody. I'd say that's the only downfall of digital inking is it's just a file. It's not like a physical, tangible thing. I know you can print it out, but it's, not the same of someone actually spending, their time inking in on a piece of paper. And I should say for this particular drawing, the way I started it was I drew it on regular paper, I scanned it in, and then printed it out in blue ink, and that's what I've been inking over top of. So in a way, there is a digital component to what I'm doing, but, I'm traditionally inking this. And again, that's just my process and how I've been doing things lately. Now I've got the, I guess this is like the Japanese version of the Pentel pocket brush. And I'm going around the drawing and filling in the big black areas. Oh, and right here I noticed I must have gotten my finger into the ink from the pocket brush because I put a little fingerprint there at the top. So what you can see is I've got the eraser out and I'm trying to get rid of that. Luckily, I just happened to notice it, so I must have just done it, so I got it all out. Here I am back with the Pentel pocket brush. And again, usually when I make mistakes when I'm doing inking in, you may have seen them in some of my other videos, I'll just use like some white ink to take it out. But I felt for this type of drawing, if I'm going to bring it to a convention and maybe ultimately sell it, I wanted to use as little white media as I could on the drawing, kind of make it like, a complete drawing that somebody may want to purchase and hang on their wall. Almost done here. Okay, on the top are my blue pencils that I printed out, and on the bottom is my inked version of Lum. If you happen to like it, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. If you already do, I really appreciate that. And also, if you're curious, the first issue of my all-ages manga-inspired comic book, Koji and Maru, is out, and there'll be a link below the video to purchase that in digital and physical copies. Thanks. See you next time.